Yeah. I get to talk some fantasy football. I don't get to do a whole lot of that. I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll try to keep the Ravens talk to a minimum.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
There's the Steelers show coming up, and
Oh, are you?
apparently I will be co-hosting it.
Oh, that's gonna be good. That's
So
gonna be good. I like
I
it. I'm
think I'm
gonna tune
higher
in for
on the
that one.
Steelers than most, which is weird. So yeah, make sure you tune in for that. We have a
Yeah.
brand new Steelers show. We have a brand new Bills show, and then we have the triumphant return of my friend Raj and the 49ers. Super exciting all around. So stay tuned.
Right on.
We have fantasy at 8. Uh, I I think Bills at 9. No, Pittsburgh at 9, Bills at 10, Niners at 11. Then we have a little wrap up at midnight. So super excited. And again, all proceeds go to the Red Cross and hurricane relief down in Louisiana. So yeah, I'm super excited to get into this mock draft. I haven't done a mock draft. Well, I guess I did the mock draft with you guys live, but I haven't talked about a mock draft in a while, so that's exciting.
Ah, good. Right on. I'm happy to have you with me here. My other cohort's a little busy today, but I'm ready to get it rolling. Like Nick said, any donation helps. Go to linktr.ee/U Stadium link tree. Find the link for the auction items in the description. Head over there. There's all kinds of cool stuff. I'm waiting to bid on the Cam Jordan jersey just to see where it gets at before I throw my hat in that ring. I'm a Saints fan, as you can tell. Bleed the black and gold, and what we're doing here, I'm excited. When I heard about it, I was more than happy to be part of this fundraiser. So I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah, and again, big shout out to Henry. He organized like 99.9% of this. Like I had my own graphics, but other than my like top 50, everything that we've done is according to Henry's plan. So shout out to Henry.
Yeah, I've been tuning in during the day when I could, just to check it out. So support the U Stadium, support the drive and what we're doing here. It was been some good content. I watched the fantasy 30 minutes with Frankie and Stefan. That was pretty good. Other than Stefan's sheets.
Yeah, I was commuting to class. What did he say?
He said he's trying to make like a podcast room with his sheets, and he's got pillows behind him and everything. So it was good. I liked it.
Okay. So Henry mentioned Campy with a $100 donation. So thank you.
Thank you, Campy.
Again, everything goes to the Red Cross. So thank you for supporting the good cause.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. And wow, Chris takes a step up over everyone at U Stadium with got the U. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I got the big logo ready to go. Got the kids Saints jersey there. Yeah. So yeah, all my kids bleed black and gold as well as me. Although my older kid said he's a Minnesota Vikings fan, so
what
I might have to kick him out of the house.
Might have to show him some 2009 NFC title game.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, shout out to Phil.
Phil, yeah,
$3. We love it.
Yep.
Shout out to Stefan as well. Got that $4.99.
Thank you, Stefan.
It appears that we are having trouble streaming to Facebook, but this may be an issue on Facebook's end, but that's okay. We are plugging along on YouTube and Periscope and Twitch, so no worries if you're following us along on Facebook. There's no one following us along on Facebook. Everyone's on YouTube, so we are vibing right now. Yeah, good stuff, Noah. And thank you, James. All right, when are we starting this mock draft? I'm kind of.
Yeah, are we gonna bring up the board? Are we gonna be able to see the board?
Do I have to log in? Okay. Yeah. I can pull that up real quick.
I think where are you picking, Splash? You're picking 5. I'm picking 12. It's one of my more favorite spots to pick in the draft.
Okay.
I like the double picks. It gives me some options. I do miss out on that top end running back, but you do get the options there in the 12. I get to play the board and take what's given to me. I like doing those kind of things. I like finding the value. I like going diamond mining in the late rounds to try to pick up those gems. But
so I'm going to grab the draft board real quick if I can connect to my Google Docs page, so then we can get this rocking and rolling.
Yep.
All right.
Again, everyone, the link is there. The address is there on the screen. Linktree/U Stadium, linktr.ee/U Stadium. Go there, donate what you can. Any little bit helps. And the auction items link is in the description of the YouTube video. So hit that up. There's autographed helmets. There's an autographed Cam Jordan jersey. So all those things are going to be worth something someday, especially the Justin Fields stuff. I mean, as soon as he starts, the price on that stuff's only going to go up, right?
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, that is going to go doop,
exactly
all the way to the moon.
Yeah.
It's going to be like the Dogecoin to the moon.
Yeah, the Dogecoin of autographs. I like it.
All right, I got the draft pulled up. I'm gonna be involved on my phone so we can see the full draft board.
Problem.
So that's good.
Gotcha.
All right, there we go. So should be able to throw that up right now. Let's see.
All right, perfect.
Is it what 12 by 17? I can
drop
the.
Yeah, you can drop it. So we're doing a Superflex, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, half PPR. We threw the Superflex in there. Our last mock was a 1 QB. I want to see how some of these guys draft with the value of the quarterback going up in that Superflex hole. So let's fire it up. Let's get it going. Nick is first. He's not in the room, so he might time out. It's a 30-second clock, but let's get it going.
Then he gets some dude named McCaffrey.
Yeah, just some dude, eh?
Yeah.
I like
it. I did a 16-team draft, like a real draft the other day, and the guy was a Steelers fan. He took Najee Harris #1.
Ooh, I mean, get your guy. Get your guy.
And then it was, I think McCaffrey was available at 4, and I was just appalled because it went Najee 1, Lamar Jackson 2. Ravens fan, as you can tell.
Oh, was that okay? Yeah,
it wasn't me, but this man, he took Lamar Jackson, round 1, pick 2.
Yep.
Then he took Mark Andrews.
Oh, jeez.
Then he took the Ravens defense
in the third round.
Yeah, wow. In pick 34.
That's a stretch.
I was appalled. I'm like telling him, look, dog, you can pick Gus Edwards here and take the Ravens defense 5 rounds later, and you'll be set. You'll have all the Ravens you want.
I see.
So I feel like what pick are you? So
I'm 12.
Okay,
I'm 12. So
I took Chubb 1-5.
I like it.
You know, I know the receiving production isn't going to be there, but he's behind an awesome offensive line. Ooh. He is one of the most efficient runners in the NFL, and you're going to have a lot of rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, you're right there. Chubb's a top 5 guy. Frankie got his Derrick Henry. I was listening to him earlier. He has him ranked as the #2 running back coming out for the year. So he's got high hopes for him. I'm gonna go Austin Eckler. I like the double RB stack. There's not going to be much coming back on the turn for the 3 for me. So I'm going to go Eckler and Tony G.
Nice. All right, we're zooming along here.
RB heavy first round. Only one wide receiver taken, Tyreek Hill. Oh, we've raised $2,648.91 for the Hurricane Ida relief. Way to go, everybody. That's a great number. Keep it up. Keep the donations coming in.
Love it. All right. Okay. So I like DK. I like Ridley a lot more. I like Kittle too. You know, tight end can be a screwy position to go early. You know, the 3 guys you think are going to hit, but at a certain point, Calvin Ridley is going to be a top 3 fantasy wide receiver this year. The production is going to be off the charts. The touchdowns are going to be off the charts. And is this half-point PPR, right?
Yep. Okay, start 3 wide receivers, so it's a great pick there. It's a great stack. I like it.
Tons of value there for Ridley.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm big on him coming into the year. I think I had him in my personal top 4, so he's going to be right in that range. Like you said, he's going to see the volume. He's going to see the touchdowns. He's going to get the production that he needs to finish where you're drafting him. So, and he's not very injury prone, right? There was only that one little stretch there where he missed like 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, I think he played 15 games.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite facts of the season, he had the most 100-yard games of any receiver. It wasn't Adams, it wasn't Diggs, it wasn't Hill,
Ridley,
it wasn't Kelsey. Yeah, it was Calvin Ridley. He had 8 of them.
I like that stat. I like that stat a lot.
All right, Nick's going with Scary Terry, and who will he take on the turn?
Clyde Edwards.
Ooh, I like Edwards-Helaire this year. You know, when Le'Veon Bell wasn't in the Kansas City lineup, I believe CEH was a top 10 to 12 fantasy running back. Could be wrong on that, but he was uber productive without Bell there. And now, of course, there's no Bell there, and there's no Damian Williams. He wasn't there last year, but he's totally out of the picture now. And Edwards-Helaire is going to be a monster this year for fantasy.
Yeah, the only issue I really have with him is his lack to push the pile, especially when he's in the goal line area. He does kind of struggle there, but PPR or anything like that, he's an absolute machine.
So I know this might be sacrilege, but I heard people comparing Mr. DeAndre Swift to Alvin Kamara heading into the draft. I don't know if he's going to be that good. But I do think he's going to be one of the better fantasy running backs, and I'll grab him as an RB2 today.
Yeah, I like it. He's got the receiving chops. I think it's just about how much they're going to play Jamal Williams in that system over in Detroit. So
for sure,
that Anthony Lynn likes to run the 2-back system. We've seen that in LA. We've talked about that before. So I think that's where he'll hurt a bit in his production, but I like it. It's a good pick. Started off well, Splash.
Yeah, I love it. Who are you going to take around the turn?
I'm gonna take a wide receiver for sure. CD is sitting there. I think he's gonna have a good year. He does have the competition in Dallas. So, but I'm going to take him. I got him ranked pretty high. I think this is the year for him. And then I'm going to roll with another running back. I'm going to go a guy who everyone faded him at the beginning of the year. Unfortunate injury was fortunate for him. So I'm going to take James Robinson there.
All right. I'd love to hear it. So I'm going to throw this question from Frankie. Who would you guys rather draft, A.J. Brown or Justin Jefferson? I'm firmly in the Justin Jefferson camp. As much as I love A.J. Brown, I think you have a higher floor and a higher ceiling with Justin Jefferson because, you know, Thielen's nice, but he's not Julio Jones. And Dalvin Cook is nice, but he's not getting force-fed like a certain Derrick Henry is.
True. For me, I'm going the other side. I'm going A.J. Brown. I think the defense in Minnesota has gotten much better. The numbers that he put up in Minnesota last year, I mean, he was the first rookie wide receiver in history to put up 1,400 yards on the amount of targets he got. He'd have to put up that amount again to finish ahead of A.J. Brown. I think having Julio there is going to give up some more targets for A.J. It's going to take some of the protection off of him. So I'm a little weary of the double knee surgery that he had in the offseason, but I'm all in on A.J. Brown this year.
For sure. And I'll mention Daryl Henderson. I know I do a lot of ESPN leagues, and he tends to be rated in the 80s. And I just find that just annoying.
Yeah,
that he and Sony Michel are like locked to the hip, and Daryl Henderson's a much better running back than Sony Michel. And I'm going to use some of Brett Coleman's advice. You draft the talent, and the situation is going to work. You draft Justin Jefferson last year, even though he started as wide receiver 3, or wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3.
Draft the talent.
Draft the talent 100%. I don't know if the talent that I want is going to fall to me, but if he does, I might have to steal him. All right. This is one of my calls of the year. I think Russell Wilson is going to be QB1 this season.
Ooh, I like it. So
you bring in some Sean McVay voodoo magic. You're going to run a lot of 11 personnel. You have DK Metcalf, who's awesome. You have Tyler Lockett, who's awesome. And you have Dwayne Eskridge, who is probably overdrafted, but hey, who cares? He's your wide receiver 3. Russ is going to feast on the deep ball. He's going to hit all the throws that Jared Goff couldn't hit deep down the field. And DK Metcalf is a better deep threat than Kupp/Woods. So I'm thinking Seattle's going to let Russ cook. No more Brian Schottenheimer, and hopefully no more Pete Carroll, whatever. So I think Russell Wilson's going to be QB1. barring some, like if Lamar runs for like 1,300 yards or Kyler has, there could be some screwy rushing production that kind of ends it. But Russell Wilson is at this point QB1, and it's not close to me. And of course, you took
not close. Too. Yeah, really.
Like of the guys, like Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Murray, I think those are a solid 4 out of the top 5. I think Russ is going to be number 5 in that group. And I don't think Herbert. I like that. I don't think Herbert approaches that. I think Dak's going to have a lot of passing yards, which is 100% valuable.
Yeah,
but I don't know if he's going to have necessarily like a 40 touchdown season like I think Russ can.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I agree with that. I think Russ, plus he's got the rushing ability as well to rush into touchdowns. So that's always a plus for your quarterbacks. But I like it. I like the take. I'm going to hold you to that one, though. Okay. I'm going to draft him. I'm going to draft him a lot. I like what you said there.
Yeah, I have another maybe a little bit of a spicy take coming up too.
Ooh, I like it. Yeah, I went with Dak. I went with Deontay. I like the targets that Deontay gets.
Deontay a lot.
I was high on him last year.
Kind of screwed you over with some drops here and there, but hey, he was open. That's the valuable thing, that he was open, and he's always open. Ooh, so Henry goes Herbert and Rodgers. I think Odell Beckham is at this point a steal, and I think Baker, over the course of the offseason, figured out how to throw the football to Beckham.
To get it to, I like it.
Yeah, one misleading thing last year, a lot of people said that Baker was force-feeding OBJ. And I went back and saw, I don't think he was forcing. I think he was going the total opposite direction, and he wasn't making the open throw to Odell, who just cooked Marlon Humphrey. He wasn't making the open throw to Odell, who just cooked generic Bengals cornerback from Minnesota. Like, OBJ is uberly talented, and you're going to take the talent, and you're going to take Baker, who was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL the last 10 weeks of the season. After that run of bad weather games that really screwed him over in fantasy, and Mr. Frankie's going off on Gus Bus. But after that weird bad weather stretch that Baker had, Baker was on fire. And the fantasy production comes and goes, but Odell is going to be a fantasy relevant guy. And if he's my wide receiver too, I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, I'll take that. And some of the drafts I was in this earlier this week, I was able to get him as my wide receiver 3, and I was more than happy with that. I was picking him after guys like Juju and Kenny. I was able to get him after DJ Shark. So a lot of people are down on him, and I was more than happy to pick him as my wide receiver 3. I'm in the same boat as you, where I believe that he is an elite athlete, let alone wide receiver. He can make the plays. He can stretch the field. And like you said, if Baker's making the move to learn how to pass to him and look for him on the field, I mean, that's only going to spell, that's printing money.
Trey Sermon, that's tough. I will say that if this was a 2 wide receiver league, I would 1,000% be taking Michael Thomas. But since it's a 3, is Brandon Ayuk still available? Or did someone take him?
No, he was taken in the 4th. Nick's got it.
Well, I'll take Debo then.
Yeah, good pick.
Ayuk is going to be awesome.
Are you big on Ayuk this year?
Like Ayuk. Where did Nick take him? He just kind of
in the 4th. Yeah,
dang,
right after
okay,
Edwards.
wow.
Yeah, Edwards in there.
3. Okay. Sheesh. I didn't realize that. All right. What's the deal with Trey Sermon versus Raheem Mostert? What have you heard?
I've heard right now that it's Mostert's backfield. I believe it's going to be Mostert's backfield for most of the season. I haven't really liked what I've saw out of Trey Sermon in the preseason games that I've watched, but they're high on him. He's not a guy that I necessarily want to draft this season. If I'm in a dynasty league, I'm taking him. If I'm in a keeper league, I'm taking him a bit later with the hopes that he turns out to be something good. But I think at the beginning of the season, it's going to be Mostert's backfield with a little bit of Trey Sermon, maybe on the goal line. But for me, that's my take on it. What do you think about that situation?
I think this is another one that I'm going to bet on the talent, and I would draft Sermon ahead of Mostert. If I ended up with Mostert, it's definitely a trade, like a a sell high target that
Yeah.
if he has 130 yards, I don't think that's because he's an elite running back. I think that's because it's a Kyle Shanahan system. I think
Gotcha.
Trey Sermon might be the most talented back to be in a Shanahan running system since Terrell Davis. Like, I'm that high on Trey Sermon. I didn't think I would be that high on Trey Sermon, but here we are. So another guy that I'm high on, I like Laviska Shenault's floor in Jacksonville. I think he's more so than Chark and Marvin Jones. He's going to have schemed touches. So there's a really high floor with him. He's going to play a lot in the slot. He's going to get those, the bubble screens, the Laviska Shenault things. He's going to get a lot of those. What Larry Fitzgerald was doing in Arizona, which I kind of spoiled what I want to do later in the draft. But beside the point, he's going to have some of those schemed touches, and he's going to get like 6 essentially rush attempts, but he's a receiver, and he's going to get 10 yards on them, right? So if he's getting 5 catches for 50 yards every game, in this league, that's 7.5 points baseline. And look, that's not amazing. I'll be the first to admit that 7.5 points isn't really anything, but as a floor that if he does nothing else, he gets 7.5 points, I'm down for it, because you add in another catch, he breaks another tackle, adds 30 yards, he scores a touchdown, you're talking double-digit points right there. So I'm high on Vishka this year, and I like him as a flex option, maybe a wide receiver 3 option, but certainly put him in your flex and you're golden.
Yeah, I like that take. I just traded for him. I traded Wentz for Laviska Shenault and Ronald Jones. So I'm high on Laviska this year as well. Kind of see it the same way you do with the scheme, with the Urban Meyer scheme, how they're going to use them. Like you said, safe floor. I like it. Gets a touchdown. He's up in double digits.
Yeah, right. So I'm back on the clock. So I'm interested. Dallas Goedert and Logan Thomas are sitting there. This is a situation that I like AJ Dillon as a handcuff, potentially. David Johnson, I don't love David Johnson. I don't love Kenyon Drake. I'm going to go ahead and take AJ Dillon as a handcuff. I'm going to eventually sub him out of my Superflex, try to get a quarterback in there. But I think AJ Dillon is perhaps the highest level handcuff, right? Like if you're maybe
if I was Pollard. Tony Pollard, AJ Dillon. Then from there, a third would maybe be if I had to pick one, maybe Kenyon Drake, but I don't know if he's really considered a handcuff because he's going to see a decent amount of snap share. But if I had to pick one, I think I would go AJ Dillon.
I think Dillon there is like, I don't have to use him. I have 3 running backs ahead of him. He's kind of there as like if Aaron Jones gets hurt, then I can, flip AJ Dillon and he's going to be RB1, RB2 value immediately. So that's always an interesting thing that you don't always have to draft for what you think your team's going to need. You can always, pick up an extra running back here that you want to flip. And even I saw a guy, as soon as the J.K. Dobbins injury broke, I saw a guy in one of the leagues I was in. He had like 2 extra wide receivers on his bench that are like wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, but he had so much wide receiver depth that he could kind of overpay for Gus Edwards because he's really high on Gus.
Yeah. Which is not a bad strategy if you need the running back and you got the assets at wide receiver.
All right. So what are you thinking with the Gesicki and Pittman?
I went with Gesicki because there was a little bit of a run on tight ends there, and the value was kind of dropping. So I went with a guy that had a good camp. There's been a lot of good news out of Miami with Gesicki, so I had to pick a guy that I was kind of high end coming into the year. And then with the T.Y. Hilton injury news in Indy, Michael Pittman should see an uptick in targets and usage there in Indianapolis. So I like where I got Pittman. I'm going to be maybe popping them in my flex here and there if I need them. But just like Laviska, I think he's got a safe floor. If he gets that 5 catches, 4 catches, 50 yards, 60 yards plus a TD, he could be very valuable to me.
How are you feeling about the Colts like depth chart at wide receiver as a whole with Campbell there. T.Y. Hilton's going to miss the first few weeks of the season. Are you leaning more
Zach
towards Michael
Pascal.
Pittman? Are
For
you
me,
leaning more towards Paris Campbell? Because I'm a big fan of Paris Campbell, and I think he is the best
Yes.
player in that room, but he's never healthy.
Yeah, that's one of the big issues, right? If I had to pick one, I think just because of, like you said, the injury issues, I'm going to go with Michael Pittman. But Paris Campbell is going to be a guy that you're going to be able to get later in your drafts. That could turn out to be a great value find for you.
So I guess one thing that I want to touch on, how do you adjust your draft strategy based on the platform you use? So I use ESPN a lot, and ESPN is a very different list than Sleeper does. How do you what sort of planning do you do if you use Yahoo or Sleeper or ESPN or NFL, whatever you may use?
I kind of enter it the same way. I like to sit in the middle and end of the draft so I can see what's going on with the board and who's picking what. I don't really tend to strategize based on the platform or what the platform's ADP is giving me. I have my own. I got my own ADP, my own list, my own breakdowns and stuff like that. So I try to stay away from what Sleeper is giving me here, because some of these players' ADPs can be a bit skewed based on where they get their information and stuff like that. So for me, I approach it pretty much every the same way in every platform. Do you got a different? Do you roll a different way? Like, do you use the list a lot?
I tend to use the list as a general, it's pretty rare that I actually choose the top player on the list outside of the early part of the first
the
round.
obvious. Yeah.
But I think it's a solid guide, and it gives me a little bit more of an insight on what other people might do. So let's say you have a super deep sleeper. If he ends up being in the 300s, I got Rashad Bateman in the 16th round of a 16-team league because he was, or 14th round in a 16-team league because he was in the 240s, right? Yep. So if you have to scroll for a while to get him, then I'm a little bit more comfortable in saying, maybe I can go get him later in the draft, and I can wait and then get trolled for taking him in the 14th round.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad strategy. I definitely like to use these as tools to see what other people are doing with the routes they're going to take in the drafting.
So Frankie mentions I got Gus and Hollywood Brown. I like Gus. I think he can be a solid RB2, maybe good flex option with some RB1 upside from time to time. And then Hollywood is really boom or bust. It's touchdown dependent. I don't know.
He was good on the back stretch of last year. He was pretty consistent.
This is true.
Right? So he burned me on a championship game when Lamar came out of the washroom to throw that touchdown. It ruined my chances to win. So I'm a little scorned with Marquise Brown, but I got no problem drafting him this year.
All right. So I'm taking Jonnu Smith. What are you thinking between Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry?
I had previous thoughts on these two when I thought Cam was going to be the starter, but now that the news broke that Cam Newton was cut and Mac Jones is going to be the starter, I'm kind of raising the whole passing offense up on my list. I like thanks, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
I had them a bit lower. I had Hunter Henry above Jonnu Smith just because I thought he was going to get more of a touchdown production. But for me, it's going to be 1 week Hunter Henry, 1 week Jonnu Smith. It's not one or the other that I want to own right away. But are you higher on Jonnu over Hunter Henry?
Yeah, I think I'm leaning Jonnu. I think as a whole, I think the touches are going to be just about the same.
Yeah.
And I trust Jonnu to make more out of those touches. Kind of like a Trey Sermon versus Raheem Mostert, that if they end up with a 50-50 split, I think Sermon's a better running back, right? And I'll bet on the talent. Of course, Henry's awesome. When he's healthy, he's been awesome. But honestly, if he's available, I might pick both of them up and do a little do-si-do with both of them. But who knows? There you go. Nick took him. Nick's listening into the show. I do want to touch on Frankie. I don't get how so many rookie quarterbacks went. I'll defend me taking Lance. That's more of a the rushing floor is going to be there, and I want some value there as a super flex. I was thinking about taking Jalen Hurts, and then I like just zoned out, and he went super early. So I've never actually been in a super flex league, but I would have to imagine that high floor is a goal. You want 10 points every single week. We don't want like up and down and left and right. And as soon as Trey Lance is a starter, he's getting 10 points a week.
Yeah, just based on his rushing ability alone, and their playoff schedule is amazing for the quarterback. So if he comes on late and he comes on during those fantasy football playoffs, he might be one of those guys that are going to win you your league at the end of the day. So taking him a bit later, taking him into Superflex, I don't hate it at all. I don't think he's going to start right away, but so I probably wouldn't have picked him that early where you got him. I'd rather have two solid starters there, but I don't hate the pick splash. I don't hate it at all, man.
That's fair. I can't see my Ross. I can see.
You got Russ. Okay. You got Russ. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I got Russ, and currently my super flex is AJ Dillon, but I have Marquez Callaway and Rondale Moore. I mentioned it earlier with Larry Fitzgerald touches. Those are now Rondale Moore touches, and Rondale Moore is a 5'7" ball of explosiveness.
Yeah.
So those touches that Larry Fitzgerald had because he couldn't get open anymore because he's like 40. Rondale Moore is going to house some of those. So I'm super excited for Rondale Moore. He's a guy that back when he was a true freshman at Purdue, I'm like, Baltimore, please draft him. And then Baltimore drafted Hollywood Brown, and I kind of threw my arms up in the air. It's like, oh, really? Oh, please don't take the guy.
Who you looking for? You don't want to say it because
no, I got to wait 4 more picks. Please. Boy.
Yeah, I like the Superflex. I really got into it last season.
Oh, he took Bateman. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
No, he took Terrace Marshall.
Was that the guy? I was going to take him instead of Everett there, but I went with the backup tight end.
Okay, I am looking at Deshaun Watson and thinking if he plays is going to be a top 10 top 10 quarterback, but he's probably not going to play. So that's of course an issue. I like Amon-Ra, but I don't trust Jared Goff. I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat. But again, I'm going to bet on the talent and take Bryan Edwards right at the last. He's wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 with Henry Ruggs, and he's going to offer more of a floor. So if you're playing in maybe a standard league, Ruggs might be a little bit more valuable because he's going to get the bigger plays and he's going to get the long touchdowns. But I think in half point and full point PPR, I think Edwards is going to give you that week-to-week consistency that you're not going to get out of Ruggs. And I liked Ruggs. I thought he was a top 15 prospect. And it's just it's that Deshaun Jackson thing,
Just burner. Just an elite burner,
some weeks that he's going to have 30 points. Some weeks he's going to have 2 points. And Jack, you almost got me there. I was scrolling. I was freaked out that Marshall's gone. And I'm like talking about Amon-Ra. Team 2 with the nice Deshaun Watson snipe there in round 14. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, who cares, right?
Team 2 struggling though. It's a super flex league, so in a super flex league, the best strategy is to start 2 QBs because you can play a QB in that super flex. Mm-hmm. I mean, their floor is higher than any other really position if you're looking at. So if you can get 2 elite guys, but team 2 is starting Justin Fields and Deshaun Watson, 2 guys that probably aren't going to be starting at the beginning of the season. So
I hadn't scrolled up. So team 2 takes the L on that one.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Superflex, the best strategy is to get, you really want 3 quarterbacks so you can have that backup quarterback to fill in, or just in case one of your quarterbacks go down. But I'm
taking a defense.
I usually, if I don't get one of the top tier defenses, I usually like to either stream or wait or maybe trade for one.
Yeah, definitely. In a lot of leagues that I'm in, I'm like I would say ESPN round 15, I'm taking a defense. Round 16, I'm taking a kicker, and that's not a full season thing. I'm not taking the Bucks or the Steelers or the Dolphins or the Ravens or the Rams. I'm taking a good week 1 matchup. I'm taking the Panthers against the Jets or the Jets versus the Panthers, depending on how I feel that day, right?
Yep.
So let's see. I don't hate Pat Fryermuth, but I don't like rookie tight end production, and
Gotcha.
none of them. But year 2 tight end production, give me Cole Kmet.
Yeah. So with that, are you drafting Kyle Pitts this year? Are you on the Kyle Pitts wagon?
In the right spot, yes.
Okay, so you're not willing to reach for him, but if he falls to you
Right.
in a good
Yeah,
spot, you're
I'll
willing
reach
to.
for every other person in the Falcons offense. I'll reach a
Gotcha.
round or two for Matt Ryan. I'll reach for Calvin Ridley. I'll reach for Mike Davis, Russell Gage, Kyle Pitts. I think the value on him is too high, because everyone knows who Kyle Pitts is. You know, not everyone knows how good Calvin Ridley is, even though he goes higher in drafts. Not everyone knows how good Russell Gage is. Though you can get those guys closer to their ADP, closer to where they might be ranked on ESPN or places. But Pitts is one of those tight ends that people care about, and it's gonna go earlier, right? It's the Mahomes. He's always going to go before his draft position. Kelsey,
Correct.
outside of this year, would always go ahead. Kittle, Gronk, the elite tight ends always go ahead. The elite quarterbacks always go ahead. And Frankie says Zach Wilson is the next elite QB. I kind of wanted Zach. You know, I think rookie quarterback there. He's a guaranteed start. So there's that, but there is going to be some fluctuation there. He has to play Belichick twice, Flores twice. That's
Belichick's record against rookie quarterbacks is pretty good for him and not for the quarterbacks.
Oh, man.
I think Herbert got 8 points one game last year.
45-0.
Yeah.
That was an ugly game.
That's the record, right? That's the record versus rookie QBs?
No, not
okay.
that good. That was the score of the game.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, Sanchez beat them as a second-year guy. Flacco beat them as a second-year guy. I still can't believe Joe Flacco walked into Gillette Stadium and won twice in the playoffs. But, hey, that's just me.
But back to Wilson. Okay, I can't stop drafting Wilson. Mac Jones went pretty late.
McCorkle.
Considering.
what quarterbacks are available? I don't actually hate Derek Carr. Cam's still there. Taysom is still there. Landry Jones is still there. Zach Desert. Christian I might have to go Hackenberg today. All right, there we go. We got Christian Hackenberg, a.k.a. Derek Carr.
I like it.
Okay. Frankie says, Ben is a big sleeper QB this year. What are we thinking about Big Ben Roethlisberger?
Based on where you're getting him, like Team 10 here just got him in the 16th round. So based on where you're getting him, I agree with that sentiment. I think he finished as QB 12 last season. He was up there. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot, even if it's just dump downs to Najee Harris. So in terms of a sleeper, I agree with that just based on where you're going to be drafting him. Like you're not reaching to pick Ben Roethlisberger. You're waiting. If you're in a 1 QB league, he might be a guy that you're getting off waivers. So I agree with that. I think he has definitely the capabilities to finish as a top 15 guy.
Right, that's fair. I think it's a little bit weird because they threw the ball so much last year. I think they're going to run the ball a lot this year, and I think they will be better than people expect them to be, which pains me to say. But I do think you're going to end up with a run-heavy team with Najee, and I like Najee a lot, and I didn't bash the guy that took him number 1 overall. And I think there could be some RB1, like real fantasy RB1 value there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think round 17, I will be taking a defense. Just kind of like a priority stream. Does someone take the Packers? Because I'm thinking Packers. Although they do play your Saints. Vikings against Joe Burrow. Actually, I like that matchup. I like you get Daniel Hunter back. You get some. Yeah, you'll have a lot of opportunities to praise Najee next hour. This is true. All right,
yeah,
so
you're going to hear a lot of it on that Pittsburgh show.
Oh boy, I'm going to have to hide
exactly.
my hat. I'm going to have to disguise my voice and pretend I'm not me. So I'm pretty happy with my squad. You know, I could have streamed a defense. I got a starting caliber quarterback, a starting caliber Superflex in my opinion in the 16th round because I think Vegas is going to have to throw the ball a lot. And
Yep.
I kind of get the unintentional stack with Carr and Brian Edwards. Didn't intend to do that. I doubt I would be starting Edwards too often in this league. But hey, there are two flexes. So currently, I guess, yeah, Edwards would be my third wide receiver off the bench right now. So solid player.
I don't hate it at all.
Josh Palmer, Jacoby Myers. I like the value on those. I do. Malcolm Brown could get some sneaky goal line touches in Miami potentially. Jameis, I like Jameis and love Ramondre Stevenson. I guess I love everyone in New England back now. That
especially now. Yeah, Michelle's gone, Newton's gone. It's another guy that's going to be snaking touches for these running backs. I think there was a report that came out that Ramondre Stevenson and J.J. Taylor were two of the most efficient running backs during the preseason. That speaks a little bit. It's not too much because they are usually facing the second and third team defenses.
For sure.
But still, those guys are playing to keep a job. So they're playing just as hard as the first team offenses.
So like, I guess on the subject of preseason, on a scale of maybe 1 to 10, how much do you let preseason hype or camp hype, I don't want to say guide your strategy, but if 1 being you tune it all out, 10 being you are all over the Elijah Moore hype train and you're going to draft him way early, like where do you think you land on that gamut of ideas?
Yeah, I'm right in the middle. I like these lists. I like to use it as a tool. I mean, knowledge is power at the end of the day. The more information that I can get coming out of these camps, whether it's to me, the most important thing is the position battles, trying to figure out new coaching schemes and tendencies, looking at the advanced stats to find habits with some of these guys that you're going to get in the later rounds of the draft. That's pretty much where I like to sit with it. I'm not a big, I don't like to really ride the hype train guys. Those can kind of get you in a little bit of trouble if you do end up reaching for them. So when I'm doing the preseason stuff, I enjoy it because football's back and I just enjoy watching football. But in terms of fantasy football, I just use it as another tool in my toolbox.
Awesome. What would you say in your career of doing fantasy football? What do you think your biggest reach that ended up working is?
I think trading for CMC the year before he went off. I traded a first for him, and everyone thought I was absolutely crazy. But one of the biggest things that I looked into was the offensive coordinator at the time in North Turner. And what he did with LaDainian Tomlinson in San Diego at the time, and his philosophies and how he likes to use the one running back system. Mm-hmm. I mean, that for me was it. Like looking into that, I was able to draft. I drafted OBJ early the year he broke out, and then Antonio Gibson last year. A lot of the guys I play with weren't really high on him. They were kind of ragging on me, saying that he's a wide receiver. He ain't going to do much. Mm-hmm. But he came out big. I mean, he did have a lot of games where he was sub 10 points. So he was under that 10-point mark. And he was a little bit of touchdown dependent. But he won you those important weeks when you needed him. He was there. I mean, that Dallas game was amazing. The 3 TD game. I mean, that was great.
Yeah. That was the Thanksgiving game, right? That was awesome.
Yeah. Thanksgiving game. Yeah.
I don't know what my biggest reach that. I remember there was one year we were drafting right after like a huge injury, like a top 20 player got injured, and someone maybe it was Cook. Has Cook had a preseason injury that he missed the year with?
I think he did have a foot problem. Did he not?
Maybe it was the Spencer Ware year. So he was like going top 30 in drafts, and someone in the group convinced the guy to take Akeem Hunt rather than Kareem Hunt. And he spent like a 3rd round pick on Akeem Hunt, who I don't think has had more than 5 touches in NFL games. And then, of course, Kareem Hunt goes bonkers week 1 against the Patriots and has an awesome year. And he's still been, a viable fantasy option, which is hard to do as the second best running back on your team. But he's, last year I think there were stretches that he was a legitimate RB1 or at least a high end RB2.
Yeah, the talent's there. We've seen it. We've seen it in Cleveland. We've seen it in KC. So,
do you think this draft was as balanced as our last?
As our last one? No, because there were some just computer spots here, and they did draft a little wonky. For the most part, the teams that were controlled by users, I think, are mostly balanced. I don't know if some of these guys have ever played in a Superflex league before. You can kind of see that by where they drafted their quarterbacks and how many quarterbacks they drafted.
Yeah, but took Mahomes Allen right away.
Yeah, I mean, it's a plug and play stack. But you are going to hurt in the other areas. Like if you're looking at his running backs, he's starting Kareem Hunt, Zach Moss, and then he's got Tony Pollard as his third. I mean, he's got a good stack with Hill and Mahomes, so that's always a plus. Do you like running with the stacks when you run your teams?
Okay, so I'll be honest. Last year I did an all Browns team. That was a lot of fun. I think I missed
until it wasn't.
Until the entire receiving corps got COVID and I had to start Daryl Hodge.
Oh, geez, who they just released, I think.
Yeah, he got me like 1 point that day because they just ran the ball and they lost to the Jets because they lost. Why? Yeah, it was Baker's little stretch that he had the bad weather games was not fun. Odell Beckham tearing his ACL was not fun. It was nice to have two RB1s most of the time.
Yep.
But I do like stacks in moderation. But I would say only quarterback, wide receiver, and then the occasional quarterback, tight end. If you have, say, a Cook and Thielen or Cook and Jefferson or Jefferson and Thielen, I don't like it. I know Mr. Ghostini has Chase and Higgins. The Bengals wide receiver core as a whole, I like it a lot for football purposes, but for fantasy purposes, it's hard to pick which one's going to go off because Boyd's probably going to have the most receptions. Chase is probably going to have the most yards, and Higgins is probably going to have the most touchdowns. So there's such a distribution of If it was, say, like even with Pittsburgh, I know Deontay Johnson's going to lead the team in catches and yards. Claypool might lead the team in touchdowns, but that's no different from Kelsey and Hill, right? Or Metcalf and Lockett, or any given week, or potentially Ridley and Pitts. If Pitts could catch 8 or 10 touchdowns, I wouldn't be surprised in that.
Yeah, and the Bengals are kind of stuck in the Browns conundrum where they're playing their division, which all pretty much have good defenses, and they're all outdoor teams. So when you're getting into those late fantasy football, when you're getting late into the fantasy football season and you're trying to get into the playoffs and you own a lot of those guys, you don't want your week to come down to a giant snowfall and then they decide to run the ball a bunch and they're only passing it 9 times because they can't really throw the ball downfield, right? So there's a bunch of factors. Yeah, exactly.
That's the only excusable because you're going to win your no matter what.
No matter what.
How's it going, Vito or Billy, whatever you want me to call you? How's it going, man?
What's up, Vito, Billy? Just want to thank Crystal Ashley for the Crystal Ashley with the donation. Thank you very much again. To donate, go to linktree/U Stadium. That's linktr.ee/U Stadium. The auction items are in the description. Hit the link, head over there, and you're going to see all the great items that we have up for bid. I mean, earlier in the day, I think Noah had the lead on all of them, and his bank account was about to get hit pretty hard.
That's a bold move. I like
it though. It's down for the cause. Yeah,
I don't know, dropping $30 on Antonio Brown on the Raiders, and then it doesn't work out. I think I was in a league that happened, and the guy got 17 points maybe out of AB that entire season because he scored week 1, maybe 15, and then week 2 with New England against Miami, and then didn't play the rest of the year. So,
are you big on AB this year? Are you drafting?
I think
he can.
I like him a lot. If I can get him as like a wide receiver 3, but not a flex, or wide receiver
Gotcha.
4, I like it. I like the upside there. I don't want to be
Yeah.
forced into starting him. That's my concern there. So there's quite a few guys like that. Even like Daryl Henderson to some degree, that if he's my running back 2, I'm a tiny bit worried. But if he's my RB3, then I'm great.
You're happy. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah. What are some guys that are like that for you?
For me, I'm gonna have to go Tyler Boyd. He's
Okay.
a guy that I'm overdrafting. I got him in a lot of leagues. Michael Pittman, another one of those guys for me that I got no issue drafting him. I got no issue making him my wide receiver 4, and Antonio Brown with the same thing,
sure.
right? So
For sure.
as for running backs, if I gotta pick a guy that I don't mind having as a flex, put him in there. Gus Edwards, your boy.
Yeah, love me some Gus Bus.
Yeah.
So, one thing that always is curious to me, is there anyone that you just, any like say top 100 player that you want no part of? That even if they were there, like I was in a draft, so on ESPN leagues, I think Joe Mixon's a top 15 player, but he lasted to pick like 40, right?
Yeah.
So who's a guy that that you want nothing to do with, but someone else might think is an RB1, wide receiver 1, QB1, whatever it may be?
I'm gonna go wide receiver. I want nothing to do with Mike Evans this season.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't overly productive for fantasy last year. And then running back, Nick took the words right out of my mouth. Josh Jacobs.
Yeah,
I'm not a big Jacobs guy. Not a big Jacobs guy this year. I have him ranked, I think, as the RB20 on my list. So I'm not very high on him. I think a lot of people like to downplay the Kenyon Drake signing, saying that he's not going to take too much of the backfield away from Jacobs. But if Jacobs even gets a little bit of less catches, I think Kenyon Drake's going to get those catches. And he gets a little bit of less of the goal line work where you're drafting him. The value is just going to sink.
Right. And I do want to... Nick mentions the Bills running back. I was looking up yesterday because I want nothing to do with Moss and I want nothing to do with Singletary. And even if you did know who the RB1 was going to be, Buffalo doesn't care about running the football, and Josh Allen's going to steal a bunch of touchdowns
himself. Yeah.
So there were 4 teams in fantasy, or four teams last year that did not have a single 100-yard rusher. The Bills are one. Can you name the other 3?
The Bills that didn't have a single 100-yard rusher. The Bills. Oh, it put me on the spot here. I'm going to go with the Bills. I want to say the Ravens.
Dobbins had 160 the last week of the season, and Lamar had a couple 100-yard games. And this does count quarterbacks, but every team that had their quarterback run for 100 also had a running back run for 100.
That's always because of the Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna go the Bengals.
Joe Mixon Samaje Perine
had one. Samaje Perine messing me up.
It's Houston, I think.
Of course. Houston.
David Johnson, I think, had
100. Oh, geez,
yeah.
I'm bad at trivia, man. You just hit me with what they got. We can be here all night. I have to name all 32 teams.
Carolina Panthers did not have a 100-yard rusher.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Damn, I should have guessed that one.
Seattle Seahawks did not have a 100-yard rusher.
Really?
Yeah. And the Los Angeles Chargers did not have a 100-yard rusher. And Nick is guessing the Jets. Ty Johnson ran for 100-yard once. And for the Lions, I believe Adrian Peterson had a 100-yard game.
Wow.
Yeah, someone on the Lions did. If it was AP or Swift, I'm not 100% sure, but a Lion did have one. And I do like this note. I'm avoiding Coleman like the plague. I do like Michael Carter, but I'm not going to start him week 1. Ty Johnson, I did pick up in one of my money leagues, so I'm excited for that to be like a early season option, then flip him when Michael Carter remembers that he's the most talented back in that lineup.
I like that take.
So, yeah.
I like that take. Yeah, I'm not big on Tevin Coleman. I'm like you. I'm high on Michael Carter, and I'm just starting to come on to Ty Johnson. I think Nick called him the Raheem Mostert type, so I like that comparison.
For sure, for sure. And I think with the Jets, it's usually I stay away from Jets. Like always.
Yeah.
I've always stayed away from Jets because even like the Marshall and Decker year, that was about the only year they've had a relevant wide receiver. They've had the occasional like good running back, whether that's Thomas Jones or a LaDainian Tomlinson or a Sean Green or technically Le'Veon Bell was supposed to be good, but he wasn't with New York. The quarterback has never Fitzpatrick. Then other than Fitzpatrick, it's been a mess at quarterback. And like Dustin Keller is your best tight end. He's like, I don't know, a barely top 10 tight end, depending on what week it is.
But they traded Hendon today too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I think they got a 4th round pick for him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've never been a big Jets drafter, but I am. Elijah Moore in the right spot is a good pick to me, and Michael Carter in the right spot. And that's I preface a lot of things in the right spot. If you're taking him number 1 overall, there's an issue.
Exactly.
But, hey, I think there's always a right spot for someone, and even like a Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs. I don't love them, or even a Singletary and a Moss. I got Singletary in like round 13 in a draft, and my running back 5, running back 6. Okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
You'll take that. Yeah. In the last mock, I got Jacobs in the 5th, and I was happy taking him in the 5th. As much as I'm not high on him this season, taking him in the 5th I got no issue with that. But back to the Jets. I mean, this season, there's 2 guys that I cannot stop drafting, and that's Zach Wilson and Corey Davis. Yeah.
Okay. I think I don't like the player, but I guess the number of targets is going to be there.
Yeah, I think the volume for him is going to be. It's already shown in some of the preseason and stuff like that he's got the connection.
Force-fed to, like what 2015 when Hopkins was, when TJ Yates was throwing him the football. Like, okay, come on now,
just give it to, just throw it. It's
like what 200 targets in a year or something ridiculous. That was insane. Yeah, I don't sleep on Corey Davis. I am slowly beginning to wake up. I don't love the player, but the fit works. I do like Elijah Moore a lot more. So he's a guy that if I have the opportunity to draft him in a dynasty league,
dynasty for sure. Yeah, 100%.
So, there was actually a take on the app that someone said both Davis and Moore would have 1,000 yards. So this season, who do you think is more likely? And do you think there's a chance both of them do it?
I don't think there's a chance that both of them do it. I think Corey Davis is going to be more likely to get the 1,000 yards, only because, in my personal opinion on this, Elijah Moore is going to come on in the second half of the season. I don't think he's going to do much at the first half, but he's a guy that I definitely want to target for the second half of the fantasy season. So if I'm picking, I definitely don't think both will go for 1,000, but I'm picking Corey Davis over Elijah Moore. How about you?
Yeah, I like the upside more with Moore, but I think Davis is going to bring such a solid floor there that it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of maybe like a Boyd and Higgins, or not a Boyd and Higgins, a Boyd and Chase, that Chase could go like 10 catches for $150 and 2 touchdowns in a given week. Boyd's not going to do that, but he is going to get 6 catches every game. So there is to me, there's always a value in having a floor, and there's some value in having a ceiling. And depending on how I'm feeling that day, I might, start Hollywood Brown and think, yeah, he could go for 100 yards against the Steelers. He's not, but he always scores against the Steelers. So there's points there. So
right on.
All right, let's see. Neither will. He says Davis 975, Moore at 740. Enough. All right. Okay. I'm interested how many guys enter week 18 without 1,000 yards, and then they get 1,000 yards week 18.
Yeah, that extra week's really going to push guys, really going to inflate these numbers for some of these guys. Yeah. But 975, 9 TDs, that's not bad.
Okay, so I guess one final question before we go.
Yep.
What are the optimal weeks for your fantasy playoffs?
As in, like the weeks that I like to hold them?
Yeah. Do you like to do a week? Well, in the past, do you like to do a week 17 league?
No.
I wrapped up.
No, yeah, I want to 16. There's just There's too much in question with the week 17 of guys not playing. I wouldn't want to go through a whole season, grinding out a whole season, get to the week 17 championship, and half my roster is sitting because they want to sit them for the playoffs. So I'm not a big fan. If I was ever in a week 17 league, I'm out of there.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. That was a wonderful
you.
hour. And now
Yep.